culture is actually damn good.
If we keeping a buck right now, we ass.
Happy to beat everybody associated with the
To
game.
win games, you have to win the game.
Gotta go on forever! This is a great time for sports. Football's in full swing. Glorious hockey being played everywhere. We just had quite possibly the greatest World Series game of all time a few days ago. It's time to get to more games. I need to see them live, which is why I always use SeatGeek, the sponsor of this video, to make sure I can get there anytime I want. Over 28 million downloads make it the #1 rated ticketing app. With more than 70,000 events listed, there's so much to see. I've used SeatGeek to see every major sport in North America and multiple cities. I've used it to see comedy shows. If sumo wrestling ever came to Pittsburgh, I know I'm using SeatGeek. Its ease of use does it for me. The app's sorting all available tickets from red to green on a 1 to 10 scale with a view from where I'll be sitting. And every ticket's backed by their buyer guarantee. Why not make it better? Use my promo code TREE to save $20 off your first of many purchases at SeatGeek. I've been using them for a while for a reason. They get me where I need to be. Now on to the video. What a breath of fresh air these Chargers unis are. Going back to these beautiful blue bolts makes me want to take this team and send them back to San Diego. Hell, like what LA all but put on a throwback performance in the style of 2005. Glorious, decisive victory and a much-needed springboard into hopeful momentum. Justin Herbert may be running for his goddamn life nearly every play, but he's dragging this franchise to wins kicking and screaming. And with Joel back in the saddle, they have some semblance of an offensive line. At least against the battered remains of a Vikings team in serious pain. J.J. McCarthy's still nursing injury, so out of spite of visibly ailing, Carson Wentz got the old Yeller treatment. Not in being shot by his own team, nada. He gets to have the ever-loving piss smacked out of him by Charger defenders on nearly every play. It's as if the spirit of every livid Eagles, Colts, and Commies fan melded together and turned him into Jesus carrying the cross through Jerusalem. Virgin Mary ain't here to save him. She's sacking him like everyone else. Then, after what seems like years of torment, Wentz and the Vikings are strangled by the camera wire that shanked Reichard's kick in London. Wait a second, the NFL is just giving me word. The kick was not impeded by camera wire. There was no camera wire. There never was a camera wire. A gun is not pressed against my brainstem right now. This statement is by my own free will. All hail the Chargers and all hail the glory of Dean Spanos.
Hot! Hot, hot, hot! Hot, 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 hot! Hot! Hot, hot, hot! Hot, hot! Just stay down, for the love of God!
Unit lost.
Make it stop! Please, just make it stay down! Go, Redskins!
Is anybody really shocked? Seriously, raise your hand if the Falcons imploding on themselves against the cupcake opponent surprises you these days. If you have, I've found a fool. Michael Penix has a bone bruise, which means you're getting a healthy helping of Kirko in this contest. Cousins wants to revive his career in the hopes of getting a new gig. I have great news for you, Kirk. A new window is opening in the broadcast booth. You do realize you're facing the Dolphins defense, right? Kirktober begins with a whopping 65 yards of offense well into the second half and a non-existent run game. You like that? Yeah, you like that. But that masks what Atlanta's defense did in this game. Tua was dealing with a left eye infection that made it hard to see. Apparently, that's the eye that throws picks. Michael Jordan had his flu game. Tua had his left eye Lopez contest. 4 touchdowns delivered and a bitch slap back to whatever reality the Falcons endure. What is Atlanta? I legitimately don't know. The Cardinals' levels of inconsistent. Raheem Morris got coached into a paper bag by a burned-out Mike McDaniel? I didn't even know that was possible. This is the kind of garbage that gets entire regimes fired. But knowing the Falcons, they'll somehow bullshit 2 wins out of 3 and keep the grift going. Miami, I guess you're alive? I think? The surging Patriots are once again proving to the world that their demise was greatly exaggerated. They merely had to recharge their lithium batteries for a few years before they re-emerged. With every week that passes, Drake May gains more power by consuming the souls of defenses everywhere. He's like Shang Tsung, but somewhat likable. Really? The Patriots are likable now? That has to be an error in my script. There's no way that Mayday is taking over the football world. This is just simply Cleveland being Cleveland. I have some unfortunate news for the Browns today. Dylan Gabriel. Putrid waste that even the garbage men won't touch. Cleveland spent a third-round pick on this guy? This is some Desmond Mitter-ass shit. That offense as a whole is puke. And sadly for them, the Patriots defense is a bit better than whatever Miami was throwing out there. New England wipes the floor with a strong, well-rounded performance to keep Cleveland miserable and pathetic. Myles Garrett's generational day was wasted. He should save each of those 5 sacks for the people that assembled this god-awful team. But then again, he did choose to cash out with that huge payday. Can you really feel bad for him in the end? I mean, they have been unearthing illegal poker rings in the NBA. Maybe they extorted Carolina into taking a dive? It doesn't matter that Bryce Young didn't play today. He alone wasn't changing how god-awful the Panthers were. But for the Red Rifle to shoot this many blanks, to be this rusty by sitting in a gun safe for the last year or so, someone investigate him for betting the under on his player props. That's the only explanation I have for how badly he performed. The Panther defense wiped sweat off their brow. That gets the heat off how god-awful they were too. James Cook had carte blanche all game. Every time he got the ball, boom, there goes another long run because nobody cares enough to defend. Over 200 yards on the ground for Cook alone. And Panthers fans had the balls to call people off for saying their team was suspect? Those calls and jeers are going to be getting a hell of a lot louder with this ass whooping. Buffalo did what they had to do. They get back on the wagon after those last few struggle bus games. At this point, it's all you can ask for if you're them. I was wondering when the other shoe would drop for the Niners. Like most of their roster to the sort of Damocles hanging over top of them. Most of the time it stabs a random player 6 out of spite. Houston may be a mess of a franchise with an offense reeking of internal chaos, but DeMeco Ryans knows his old sensei's tricks. No need to worry about Kyle Shanahan's wizardry when you literally refuse to give them the ball. The Texans had over 24 minutes of possession by halftime. This is the shit you do to a 5-year-old on Madden when you want to see him squeal like a pig. It leads to one of the rarest sights in this NFL season. CJ Stroud having a clean pocket. Imagine that. It's pretty good when he isn't getting clobbered with defensive hammers.
Perfect.
The Texans playing up to potential. How incredible. The Niners are near completely destroyed, to be fair, but this was a needed win for Houston's ambitions. It gets them back into some semblance of a playoff hunt. The Texans' elite defense will do the rest in the fourth quarter. I'm nowhere near sold, though. Talk to me next week against Denver and we'll see where I stand. This week's episode of That's So Raven is getting quite spicy. They're adding all the Cholula and cayenne pepper that you can stomach. Baltimore's getting walloped by their opponents left and right. And desperation moves have to be made. The ping pong table, basketball hoop, and video game consoles have been removed from the locker room. Like the PS5, there are no games. Shit is indeed getting real. What's also getting real is potential drama with Lamar. John Harbaugh publicly declared that Jackson was a full participant in practice and he'd be starting against Chicago. There was one problem. He was only running scout team. Lamar was merely a limited participant, and he would not be playing. Outrage flings from all corners of the football world. The Ravens messed with the betting lines. They are fucked. Prepare to be fined and lose draft picks for this insult, Baltimore. Your hellish freefall shall continue on. In this chaos and calamity, the Ravens won? What the hell? They were all but dead men walking without a chunk of their roster against a white-hot opponent, and Baltimore saved their season? It's honestly fitting the Chicago Bears stereotype to a team. Get some semblance of hope, then fall apart to a team led by former Pro Bowler Tyler Huntley and a sack-core defense. Before you say anything, I know the Bears are down to their fourth-string cornerback. How does that explain their offense? It was a complete mess. I get the run game isn't working to plan, but what the hell is this game plan? Does DJ Moore up 1 foot out the door? Do you not trust Caleb or something? That might make sense. Let me see. Very talented, maddeningly inconsistent, throws a terrible pick in his own territory to all but give the game away? Congratulations, you have fingernail painting Kyler Murray. There's a chance to change that in the future, but this embarrassing loss is set in stone. Baltimore might have saved jobs with this win. Not joking. Although that might not be for the best in their situation. The Kelly Greens are undefeated, especially in the style category. Philadelphia may have easily won against a team that's imploding after a tremendous joke for the ages, but I've only come to one conclusion after this game. I look forward to the robot refs. The ref ball took center stage against both teams and it was fucking atrocious. Take this tush push. This should be a strip fumble and recovery by Kayvon Thibodeau.
Nope.
Yet apparently a whistle was blown. Quick, tell me when you hear a whistle in this clip.
Tush push, Hurts, leans forward, ball is taken away from Kayvon Thibodeau. Did they blow the whistle?
Sounds like it happened after the ball got stripped, right? If this is the NFL pretending they can't properly call the tush push to get it banned, then mission fucking accomplished. And that was just the most egregious one. Eagles get a false start, the Giants are penalized for offsides. This play may be a fumble or an incomplete pass. I legitimately don't know. The Zebras sure as shit don't know either. And the worst part is neither team needed ref ball to help out in this endeavor. Philly was significantly better in all facets. The G-men couldn't stop their ground game. Feels like the first time the Eagles were able to get that going all damn year. And this is with Saquon bowing out early due to an injury. Tank Bigsby merely picked up the slack. Jalen was extremely efficient, with 4 touchdowns through the air. And this became a blowout faster than you can say Brian Dable's on burning coals. A nightmare game for New York spiraling into a nightmare season. Well, at least they have those wonderfully exciting whites.
No! Why did you take him? Why did you take him? He was so good. Take my leg, please. I don't need it. Let Cam try. He was the salvation we need.
A mystery that no one cared for. Who would be the Jets' starting quarterback this Sunday? Garbage or older garbage? The answer will truly shock you. Justin Fields. Turns out Tyrod, like many other times in his career, suffered yet another freak injury or something. Right after Woody Johnson burned Justin at the stake for being shit too. You're not a good owner, Woody? What a fucking guest! And now New York's gonna have to head into battle without either Sauce Gardner or Garrett Wilson. The fortunate thing is that it's against the Bengals. In this game, there was a cheat code enabled. No defense allowed. Seriously, none of it was being played by either team. We should have honestly expected that from both groups. Since these units trashed here and the Jets are simply in the trash. A Pac-12 after dark match in the flesh. The offense will fly near unimpeded for most of the game. 900 yards combined. And these were balanced attacks that led the way. The elite Joe Flacco repeating what he did against Pittsburgh on Thursday. And even the glorified running back that got chucked under a trash compactor this week. The Jets' defense isn't exactly one for holding the fort down and avenging narratives, though. The Bengals are up by 14 in the fourth quarter, and trends point to that continuing. This would be a nice win, despite the ugliness of one side of the ball. You grossly underestimate Cincy's ability to snag defeat out of the jaws of victory. Running away with that chance, Breece Hall. And they'd finish off the drive with a 2-point conversion. After official review, of course. Now Cincy has to try to do something, but revelations are abound. You're trying to run boat races with a geriatric Joe Flacco. You're eventually gonna run out of gas. You know who can burst through and exploit a team running on fumes? Breece Hall. He's doing the carry job of carry jobs. Might be to try to find a new home before the trade deadline, might be to win this game. Either way, it's curtains. He'll be like Thanos and do it himself.
Closer look at him, and that just adds to the intrigue here down the stretch. Hall, boy, thought about it, now tosses to the end zone, and he's got Taylor for the Jets touchdown.
You know, I look back and get amazed by certain things. Like how I have a following for rambling about sports for way too long. Or how people think prevent defense wins football games in 2025. The one thing that really blows my mind? The Bengals were a drive away from winning a Super Bowl. They nearly did it without anything resembling a competent owner, GM, or head coach. Now you see why I'm stunned by it. Cincinnati lost to the winless New York Jets. They lost to a team without one of their best offensive weapons in Garrett Wilson. They lost to a team with a glorified running back under center and made him look passable. This defense is so bad they're single-handedly keeping the field script going for another week. People think this team is good? With this pathetic defense? I'll trade, but surely Zach Taylor's offensive genius will get them back to the promised land. By running up the gut on a 2nd and 10 in their own territory while trailing in the final minute, are you fucking serious? Great, this is now the 4th week I'm calling for a team to nuke everything from orbit. How fucking wonderful! At this point, the Bengals aren't even worthy of the yelling and screaming shit. Not with that failure of an owner, with his failures of children running things into the ground with relentless cheapness at every turn. And certainly not with that bumbling head coach. Bad teams stay bad won a stunning revelation. That alone earns the Bengals locale of the week. Amazing, a contest they somehow didn't blow. Thanks to that failure, another sound is being heard. 2008 Lions and 2017 Browns stand alone at 0-16 for another year. Aaron Glenn gets his first win as a head coach in an emotional victory. The football gods bless them today, and it's for a very specific reason. Nick Mangold. He was a damn good lineman who went way too young. They did it for him. The Jets can have this one. I think they've earned a respite from their disaster season. A rivalry game that isn't really much of a rivalry these days. Mostly because the Saints are the Saints, and the Buccaneers, while injured to hell, will continue to feast on their corpse. Well, apparently this interception by Antoine Winfield wasn't a pick because the whistle blew? Is it a dog whistle or something? Don't believe your eyes and ears, trust the refball and go from there. He didn't mean shit in the end, fortunately. New Orleans found inspiration from Kwang Duk and immolated themselves. Spencer Rattler speedrunning the 2023 Sam Howell arc. Once a surprisingly reliable player on a bad team, he's regressed to being straight up bad. Coughing up the football at every opportunity like he took a metric shit ton of tussin before the game. You can look at the stats and say that Tampa Bay's offense struggled immensely. A battered unit barely surpassing 200 yards and went 3 for 13 on third down, but they didn't need to do anything. Nollins was content with handing them the game at every turn. So abysmal they shuffled deck chairs around and threw Tyler Shook out there. You can argue he was worse than Spencer Rattled. The relentless tank continues on for the Saints, and Tampa Bay gets a victory in surprisingly hilarious fashion. The Mal the Uno reverse card from the Giants' self-destruction a few weeks ago. It's impressive to see. People believe that there wasn't any way for the Titans to get worse than they are right now, but there definitely is, my friends. Remove Jeffrey Simmons. Without their best player on defense and probably the entire roster, Tennessee might legitimately be the worst team in football. They might get beaten by a few college teams. And I know people joke about that, but it's the honest-to-God truth. Indianapolis is a wagon, and they're simply going to trample over the wounded duck they see in front of them on the road. No mercy for a division rival. Even if they are the equivalent of a paraplegic on the field, might be brain damage too. Nothing says logic like punting on a 4th and short at your opponent's 42-yard line down by 10. Then promptly give up an 80-yard scamper to a white-hot Jonathan Taylor. He had another 3-touchdown day. That's Indianapolis' game in general. Thorough ass-beating. They might as well have been playing jackasses without Tennessee's looking. This team's already 1 foot out the door to Galveston. Even Eddie George is disgusted with his old franchise. The Colts don't give a shit, though. They'll just dominate per usual this season. On to the next village to burn to the ground. Dallas is playing with some momentum after a strong offensive performance last week. Denver's coming off the miracle of miracles looking to make a pure statement. Guess which one came true today? Here's a hint, it didn't happen with the team with the star as a logo. During all this flash and pizzazz, everyone with a pulse remembered something. The Cowboys don't have a defense. All they have is a turnstile we call the Floose Goose. The Bronco offense has been significantly maligned, particularly for Sean Payton's play calling as of late, but against Dallas, they were nigh unstoppable. RJ Harvey had a breakout day. 3 touchdowns of significant impact to add to J.K. Dobbins' 100-yard day on the ground. That can't do every single goddamn thing for the team, boys. There are going to be games where he's not at peak form. This was one of them. And it was with Patrick 10 being hurt early on. In a game that Denver honestly needed for their legitimacy, the Broncos passed it with flying colors. Dallas seriously thinks getting DeMarvin and Overshown back's gonna solve everything? He is good, but will it really do that? Wait, Overshown's coming back this year? Thought he wasn't due back until 2026. There's a lot at stake for Aaron Rodgers. It's his old team and his new home with some seriously god-awful uniforms. He has to make sure gaudy appearances are kept. Little did he know that the Steelers also like to keep appearances. What this game showed us is a contrast between a real team and the standard. The first half is a standard black and gold showing. The Pittsburgh Boswells using smoke and mirror tricks to stifle the Packer offense, while Aaron bullies Keyshawn Nixon at every turn with his throws. So far looking like a pretty standard Steeler win. But then something amazing happens at halftime. Are you ready for what transpired? You see, the Packers did this thing called adjusting their game plan. And in the process, were able to counter whatever the Steelers did in the first half to perfection. Jordan Love was besting his old mentor in the art of throwing the pigskin. 20 straight completions to lead Green Bay's relentless charge. Even his prayers and fucking chucks were landing for big gains. The Steeler defense was that pathetic. Tucker Kraft turned this unit into goddamn Velveeta. And without Cam and TJ doing superhero shit, they're fucking useless. Once Deshaun Elliott went down, things got even worse. Truly a historic unit, isn't it? Aaron and the offense simply got stifled in the same time frame. Pittsburgh falls to another standard, getting crushed by real teams as Rodgers won't beat all 32 franchises. The Packers will simply win in Pittsburgh for the first time since 1970. Is this what things have come to? Packers fans doing a Go Pack Go chant at Acrisure? Blaring Renegade in their locker room after a decisive win? The standard is the standard. Baltimore has to be licking their chops. The AFC North may be coming back into view again after this crap. Sorry for letting you down, Detroit. Oh, God. Washington, just lie down and play dead. Having Jayden Daniels wouldn't change things. They're simply the work of the devil in the air. The Chiefs have restarted the blood rituals. Commies are the wrong shade of red for their liking. They will be slaughtered wholesale at Arrowhead to appease the football gods. And their methods are devious. Kansas City lulls their prey into a false sense of security. Let them believe the game's within reach. Make a few careless mistakes that Washington can't take advantage of, but always be the one pulling the strings. The game is tied at half, sure, but the best sacrifice is those who are defenseless and drunk off fortified wine. The second half would be Chiefs suffocation. Their offense eats clock like it's a Golden Corral buffet. They drive a steamroller and squeeze every last bit of bodily fluid and gunk out of you from the feet up so you can feel the searing pain. This is the will of Mahomes and the Chiefs. Their road to winning 5 of 6 is a relatively easy one. Washington's too long in the tooth to fight back. Kansas City can stay healthy? They're probably making it back to the Super Bowl, aren't they? Well, it was nice knowing the rest of us had false hope for a bit. A week where this video isn't nearing the half-hour mark? This is such a nice change of pace. If only there wasn't so much bullshit refball at every turn, maybe then we'd have some true peace. But there's one more salvo that's been fired in the last minute. Detroit wanted to win the bye week as well. They had a huge Aiden Hutchinson question to answer. Even with his gruesome injury last year, he hasn't skipped a beat. Green Bay played 4-dimensional chess by paying Micah the big bucks, and the Lions would have to respond in kind. Good news for the Motor City, they did. A well-earned 4-year extension for Aiden, averaging $45 million per year. Over 140 million simoleons guaranteed. It's not Micah money, but it's damn good money. And it helps to set the market for guys like Trayvon Walker moving forward. Get paid, boys. Get paid.
Bring out Jaden! Bring out Jaden! Bring out Jaden! Bring out Jaden!
Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost.
Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost.
Thanks very much. That's all. See you on Thursday. Right.
Another blitz. Dart protected throw. It is caught for the touchdown. Dart beat the blitz. Skattebo on the receiving end. The Giants are in for 6.